Welcome to Masters of Self University podcast, your highest source of sacred truths and universal wisdom. Hello, beautiful souls. I'm Rachel Fiori, mystic, spiritual teacher, psychic healer, and founder of Masters of Self University. Join our journey of soul transformation as we deep dive into this latest episode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Masters of Self University podcast. I'm your host, Ellie Lee.
And I'm your host, Danny Morley. And today we're joined by Tai Pacheco. Did I pronounce that right, Tai Pacheco?
That's it.
One of our mystical coaches of Oneness, an incredible being. And today we're going to be talking about depression. So, Tai, why don't you start us off?
Awesome. Thanks for having me back, guys. Glad to be here. So I know you guys have talked about this on a few podcasts already, but it's something that's currently on my heart, currently what I'm going through. And I am moving through a wave of this energy right now. And it's an energy I'm very familiar with over the course of my life. Just to give you a quick run through, I can first remember feeling this energy when I was like 5 years old. So already from that age, feeling that intense, dark energy. And I remember just being a really little kid. It was a winter day, and I just remember looking up at the sky and just feeling this intense sadness and just, what is this place? Like, just feeling how cold it was. I mean, it's winter, so it's physically cold, but then also just the emotional aspect of feeling distant. And as I got older, it morphed into a bunch of different energies and programs. I remember being in my 20s and having my depression be at its worst. And for me, it looked like insomnia. So it's two frequencies trigger each other for me, big time. So I would pretty much not be able to fall asleep until about 6 a.m. And I would sleep the entire morning into the afternoon. I'd wake up at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And it got so bad that I had to go out and buy those blackout curtains that completely just like shut off all sunlight because I would be just completely submerged in the depression energy. And I'm experiencing another wave of it right now. So I felt like this is a perfect time for us to really talk about this energy and how it affects us on a day-to-day.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start off with you saying that I wish we were friends when we were younger because I mean, I went through that too, where I could not understand this place and the intense sadness that I would feel just looking out my window, like watching people like walk past. And I'm like, what the fuck is this place? And the intensity of sadness that I would feel, I mean, it would spiral me, and I'm like 6, and I would just spiral, and I would just cry to my parents, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, how do you not feel what I'm feeling? Like, what is this place, and why does it feel the way that it does? And obviously, we have nobody that's guiding us or anything in any shape, way, or form. And so over time, what that looked like for me too was like these really deep spirals of depression where it looks like insomnia for you. For me, I would be in bed and that was it. Like I wasn't moving out of bed. I would just sleep. And then when I wake up, I would feel the amount of dread and terror that I was waking up in this reality again. Like this was all real, that this wasn't pretend. And then I would wear like an eye mask and I would just be in deep slumber and just for days, not showering, not eating, not anything. So that's what the depression looked like for me too. So first I want to say it's a very gnarly program and my heart goes out to you as you're moving through this. And, just to say to you too, you're moving through this because there's something greater on the other side, but that doesn't mean that journeying through it doesn't suck because it is a very, very, people who don't understand this program can never truly grasp how dense this program is. And I know, Danny, probably you'll speak about, what causes the program of depression. But for me growing up, it was just always this thing of like, I'm just depressed and depression is very much a part of my existence. And I don't know how else to be or what else to feel. And I can't understand how anyone else doesn't feel the way that I feel. So just to say, I understand you completely, Tai.
The time is now. In this month of April, we are holding all of our student enrollment meetings for our next summer semester beginning in May. The deadline is going to be April 25th. So if you are interested in enrolling as a student, please just come attend one of these free student enrollment meetings, and you can learn what it means to enroll as a student, everything that you're going to learn along this amazing journey of energetic transformation, and what all the classes are, and ask any questions. So please, if you're interested in learning more on how to enroll and what exactly it means and what it all entails, just come to one of these free student enrollment meetings. You can follow the link in the description below, or you can simply go into our website, hit that enroll now button, and you'll be able to see all the different options we have for the month of April. I look forward to seeing you in class, and of course, enjoy the rest of this episode. Oh, just getting on this call, just as you guys were sharing, I think whatever it is you've been experiencing, Tai, I got to feel, because I had to just work through in real time. So much felt like was coming in. So I don't know if I was feeling what you're feeling. And what I know from depression is, and I've struggled with depression a lot over my life, is it's when we aren't able to open to what's here. We can't feel what's trying to come in, and we don't know how to open our heart to it, because there's normally some program, some trauma, some wound. And so we suppress it and we shut ourselves down to it. And then because we're doing that, that's when we depress ourselves. So we're energetically bringing things down into this very low place, because we don't know how to feel like what is here. And there could be a million different things that activates this program, and obviously it's going to be the thing that creates it is going to be slightly different in every single person, but we can still experience the common depression I always see as a symptom. The symptom, which is the energetic state of being we enter into in depression. And I know what you mean, Tai, and when you're in that place, you're like, can't get out of, I don't know if you've had this, like can't get out of bed, your sleep pattern gets way out of whack. I've never quite had full insomnia the way that you've explained it just there. But I've definitely been in places where just my sleep, my whole circadian rhythm is so out of whack, and I've got no energy, and all I want to do is just lay around in bed. And underneath all of that, there is just, I know this now from doing the work over the years, there is just so much stuff that's layered in there that I have to work through. And sometimes, like this happened to me in my mid-20s, I started to tap into certain things, started to open up through, I did some psychedelics, and they started to open up, and I wasn't ready to face and feel what was there. And then that meant I went into, it happened multiple times throughout my 20s when I was going out and, partying with my friends, and I would take a little bit of MDMA, and then I'd have a really good time, but then something would open up. And then, oh my God. And now I would wake up, and then I would be like months, sometimes it was even years of being in this really low depressed state, because something from my past started to open up, and I wasn't in a place of power to face that. So I just was trying to energetically stuff it back down. And this is what happened when we get depressed. We depress ourselves, right? And obviously from, our point of view, sometimes it can feel like it's happening to us, but we're doing it to ourselves. And it's just because we're in separation.
Yes, Tai, I would love if you could share what kind of triggered this whole episode that you're going through right now.
Yeah, for sure. So there are a few programs for me that trigger depression. Um, a big one is resistance to what I am. So being an HSP, highly sensitive person, being an empath, um, being resistant to that, and being unhappy with it. I mean, at the core, it's like there's this unhappiness, there's an unwillingness to really accept that, like, I'm a sensitive being in this world. and I don't function the way that my friends function. Where I don't think I might have one other HSP friend, possibly,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know? And I notice when I'm in this energy, it triggers dissociation for me a lot too. It's in the program, along with the insomnia. And just to give a quick story, I remember meeting one of our other coaches, Julie, last year, um, during a lunch, and we were talking, and she was noticing something with me. She's like, "Tai, I noticed that like your energy does this thing where it kind of like melts a little bit, like you just kind of melt away, and then you come back online." And it was the first time that like someone's ever really noticed that, because I've been aware of it my whole life. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, okay, this would be the group that would see that happening for me for sure. But it's definitely this energy of a dissociation comes over me where I'm like no longer plugged into like reality. And I'm just like, I'm not present at all.
Oh,
Yes.
beautiful share.
I've
Yeah.
experienced that so much where and it's the same thing that we're speaking of. It's exactly it. We don't know how to feel what's here. So the dissociation, we leave our body. This happens to me when I eat certain foods. And it's clearly it's activating something. And then I dissociate and it's like, oh, my awareness can't stay in here because I'm having to feel something that I'm not ready to feel yet. So I float up. I spent a few years completely dissociated, trying my best learning how to ground. I know, Ellie, that's something you struggled with too, right?
I not so much dissociation. I've definitely dissociated in certain parts of my life, but depression didn't do that to me. It was, I mean, maybe it was dissociation. It was just I go into this kind of very null and void, like no light in my eyes, no life in my beingness kind of thing. So probably some sort of that for sure. Uh, but Tai, I really wanted to go down. So there's this. So for those of you guys who don't know, Tai is, I mean, we all are extremely sensitive. And we're all empaths. And this entire group in this chat right there, we're all HSPs and we're all empaths. But I know that for you, you are very, very sensitive and you are an empath. And like I've seen you move through a lot of sessions where like you can really feel clients and like you can really feel people when they're going through things. So go into a little bit, if you want to, of what is this resistance to what you are?
Great question. Yeah, for me, it's coming to a full acceptance that, you know, I'm picking up on things from people. Like I can feel people's like suppressed energies. A lot of times I was just working with um, a client recently where they were having difficulty accessing a traumatic experience. And their programs were coming online, the suppression was coming online to block what was really there. And then some of the humor programs come in to kind of laugh and make light to deal with the pain. And for me, I feel the full extent, like even underneath like all the masks and all the surface level programs, like that whole world, like it's like almost like an ocean for me. Like it's like a wave just crashes over me, and I get attached to that. Like because I'm so sensitive, it's like I have a hard time energetically detaching from other people's suffering. There is a part of me that gravitates or almost clings on to when other people are in this level of pain, because it's like I can't even fathom that we live in this world that would do this to people. Like all my mental programs get activated, and I get in this energy of just hating this world. Like I hate this world. I hate what this world has become. And all I'm putting out into the world is that I hate this world. And that's the reality that I'm living in, that I hate this world. And I'm getting to this place where I can't live in that anymore. I can't just be shaking my fist at like how awful things are.
Okay. Okay, so It's because of how much you can feel in a person. So when you feel all of their traumas, when you feel all of their suppression, when you feel everything that's in them, then that starts equating to how can this world be so fucked up and so cruel that a human being has to feel that or has all of that inside of them. And then that's what causes you to spiral into all of this hatred of this world. Okay. So we're all different empaths. I am an animal empath, so I feel that in animals. And so I don't I can feel and sense in humans a lot, but I can't feel in the way that you feel, like the depths of it, but I feel it in animals. And that's the exact same thing that happens to me, where I'm like, how can you do this to this sentient being? How can they feel so afraid, like the way that they are, and have this much trauma? Like, I hate this world. Like, that's something that I can 100,000% resonate and relate to you on for sure. The attachment piece. What happens there? What's going on with you that when you attach to someone's stuff?
Yeah, to give an example of that, like, for example, my mom has been through it all
Mhm.
in her lifetime. Like, she lost her son, my brother, about 13 years ago. She lost, after she separated from my dad, she lost her next partner from colon cancer.
Wow.
So she's someone who's just been through a lot.
Mhm.
And what happens to me is that I will get attached to her suffering and all that she's been through, and I will just let so many things slide
Mm.
because my mind just goes to the stories of she's been through hell. Like, she's been through so much. It's okay if she manipulates me. It's okay if she like abuses me. Like, I know what she's going through. Like, I know how hard it is for her soul. And that's what I get attached to, is this like it's almost like giving them the benefit of the doubt
Mm.
because of the suffering. So there's a program running there that's like doesn't want to see the reality that I'm being manipulated sometimes, that I'm being taken advantage of from my mother, you know,
Yeah.
when she's asking me for money or, whatever it might be. I can't see past the unlovingness because I'm so attached to what she's been through in her story.
Wow, because you're experiencing it in yourself. So when you experience all of the things that she's been through and all the unprocessed stuff in her, that's what so it's almost like you completely disregard yourself. So you negate yourself and you attach that, you take that on. And because you could feel the depths of what's inside of her and what she's been through, even though she acts manipulative and fucked up and all of this stuff from you, you let that side because you could feel the depths of what's in her.
Exactly. Yeah. Not fun. Not a fun place to be. I'm ready to elevate out of that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of resistance that often comes up when we get more sensitive, which is a natural byproduct. And as we elevate, we do become more empathic. And I'm testament to this. I remember, like, I always thought I was a slightly empathic person, but I never really truly knew what it meant. And then the more and more I've done this work, now that kind of gift has started really coming online, and I feel other people's stuff in my body, and I know it's not fully online. And this is what I was experiencing right at the beginning of the call. I think I was psychically starting to feel what Ty's going through. Oh, okay. It's like information gets sent that our way as an empath for us to learn so we can help them heal. But if we haven't healed all of our weakness, our powerlessness, then that gets activated in us. And then as you shared, like, and this was me for a large time, when we have all these wounds of attachment, for me, it was always needing mom. And as a sensitive being, there is extra nurturing that needs to happen as a child. Like, it's not like black and white of like, okay, at this point, there's a cutoff of when. We were even talking about this with our pet psychic the other day. She was saying that one of our dogs is a lot more sensitive, and so at the 8-week mark, where most dogs are okay to separate from the mother, he actually needed longer to nurture with the mother, and so he's carrying a little bit of a disconnection wound from his mother. And that's the same thing for us as humans, as highly sensitives. There is more of a nurturing process that is needed in order to create that safety and stability. But then the important part is then we're encouraged to grow into, as Rachel teaches, the divine masculine and have that independence. But when we don't learn to nurture ourselves, we stay trapped in that needing the attachment, needing someone else, in that kind of more powerless, weak place. So then when we grow up and we're starting to feel all this stuff from other people, of course, then it's going to activate all these wounds. And if we don't know how to feel it, here comes all the depression. And this is why it's so important for anyone in any of this space. Doesn't have to be the exact work we're doing in MSU, but anybody in the kind of the healing space is to learn how to actually alchemize, detach, clear energy. Because if not, you're just going to be soaking up everyone else's stuff.
100%. And to echo what you were saying about tenderness, I mean, that I remember talking to Rachel about this, like that tenderness is like so needed for us as sensitives, as empaths, growing up, being children. I remember being so sensitive that even going to the barber shop, guys, like I would be like the kid crying in the chair, getting his hair cut because I hated the feeling of just like the pain of like the razor on my skin. And I was like, it would trigger all of the lack of like tenderness and like harmlessness and gentleness that I was feeling. And my dad would not be able to fully understand me. I think he ran a lot of toxic masculine programs where it was like dismissal, like, come on, Ty, this is not that big of a deal. Like, you're getting a shot at the doctor's office. You don't need to be falling out on the floor. Like, especially when I started to get older too. So I remember feeling the punishment energy from him a lot of times, and that would trigger my shame and my guilt. And as I got older, I took on those programs and just continued to shame and guilt and punish myself. Like, I remember being a teenager, and because I wasn't able to activate like tenderness within myself, I would just take it all out on myself. Like, I would cut up pictures of myself. The self-esteem for me was just really in a dark place, and it was all tangled and enmeshed with that depression energy. And like looking back, it was like a cry for help, to have anyone to provide that tenderness and that level of sensitivity that was like desperately missing for me.
Yeah, growing up in this world as a highly sensitive, with all the toxicity that exists, as you mentioned, the toxic masculine, it's like, oh, you're in for a rough ride, but you have to find your power, because if not, you're probably going to suffer to a large degree. And it's not going to be an easy road, because as you mentioned, like, as a more sensitive person, there's so much to feel. It's so easy to slip into the shame spiral of, for me, like, it's shaming myself for being so weak. I hated that about me. Absolutely hated it. I've only just started over the last month making a shift of realizing how to love that weak part of me, and how that's not necessarily the case, that was just an energy that was trapped in there, and it's not really who I am. But as we go back to attachment, as I was so attached to the programs, it's like I didn't know anything else. That's all I knew. All I knew that there was this deep, big part of me in my subconscious that felt like I was weak. And I hated that about me. I hated feeling that. And there would be a lot of depression and resistance that got created around that for me in my life. And that's hard to move through.
Yeah, so what I'm feeling is like just this immense hatred for yourself when nobody is nurturing what you are, and then you're being met with a dad who is running all his toxic programs, and he's punishing you, and he's like, probably like, be a man or be a boy or be whatever. So negating your entire experience and what you are, which then results to, well, I hate myself. And then here comes the destruction of self. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I would hear from my dad growing up a lot of times was like, it's a hard world out there. Like he would
Mm,
always come back to that. Like you better grow some thick skin. Like,
mm,
because he grew up in that. Like he grew up in New York City. So he
yeah.
had to have that. So that could just kind of colored my lens to see the world like, oh, I actually have to get more thick skin here, or I'm not gonna
Right.
make it.
Right.
And that's a
Right.
big one for me. Like I'm not gonna
Mm,
make it.
mm,
And that just creates the belief that what I am is inherently flawed or wrong, or how I am, the amount of sensitivity that I feel isn't okay in this world, and I've got to, my skin's got to get thicker, I've got to be something else, I can't accept what I really am. I have to try and be what this world needs me to be in order to survive, which is ultimately a lot of why our programs are created, right? Is to survive. In that,
y-
obviously, it's that's the illusion. That's what our mind thinks at that time.
yeah. So this has become a denial of self, which is a denial of what I really am. So there's all the powerlessness and there's all the resistance to it because all you've ever known is what I am isn't good and it's not going to survive this world. And dad doesn't like it and da 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 and all this stuff. And then nobody else is like me. Yeah.
Big time. And when when I'm in like being an adult now and like working in a professional world,
Yeah.
having a career, it's like it's so frustrating and it's so gnarly having these programs come up when you're like at work.
Yeah.
Because these programs don't care if you're at work, if it's 9 to
Nope.
5, like if it's Saturday or Sunday or Monday, they don't care. Like this is gonna show up. So for
Mm,
me, I've gone through so many ways of like, oh, I know I'm gonna get fired this month. I know
mm,
I can't handle this. I know this is out of um my limits. I can't hustle.
mm.
And it's that survival, like you were talking about, Danny. It's just like it comes back to haunt me over and over again in this mental program that I'm not strong enough to survive in this world.
Yeah.
And I'm so scared of what's on the other side of that if I
Mm,
don't make it.
mm.
And the beautiful thing that you can teach your inner child is, yeah, you were never supposed to, because you're not supposed to be part of this old, fucked up, stupid world. I'm here to become the way and create something entirely different. We, all of us here, we didn't come here to survive in this world. Came here to thrive in the new earth. And having that, that time and teaching that part of us that feels that way is like, yeah, you were never supposed to fit in here. This is something that has come to me again and again and again. I'm like, oh, like I was never supposed to fit in. I don't know if you felt like this, Tai. I've always struggled like feeling like a man in this world. I just felt like what was being asked of me to be a man, I am not that. And I've contorted and tried and done all of these things, and it's actually created a lot of shame in my life for who I ended up becoming to try and fit in as a quote unquote man in, we'll call it, the old earth. And in that process, it led to so much like suffering and, as you said, like lack of self-acceptance. And it's only been recently that I've been realizing, oh, I never came here to be that. So I've been trying to be the wrong thing my whole life. And actually, I'm here to be me. And I need to get to a place where I don't give a flying fuck about what anyone else thinks about me as a man. And in that, that's where I'm going to find what it truly is to be a man. But to get there, I want to be a man of divinity. I want to be a divine man. And as I've learned from Rachel, like you can only get there through being integrated with the divine feminine. So these feminine and masculine energies have to be fully integrated in order to be what a man truly is, not an unconscious third dimensional old earth man, but a true man. And those energies have to be fully integrated. That means embracing all of the feminine that I am, as well as all of the masculine that I am. And then bring in the fact that, we're completely brainwashed to understand what these things mean. And that can leave somebody who, is growing up in this world very confused about who they are and who they're supposed to be. And it just creates this massive confusion about who is it that I really am. And the more that I've done the inner work to find out that, that's what's allowing me to say I don't have to, kind of be what this thing is telling me to be. I can be just me, myself. And in that, that's the true man.
1,000%. Like that's the place that I'm trying to get to. And that's the place that like I'm excited to get to one day. Cause I can remember like distinctly being in high school and it was like a requirement for everyone to do sports. And I remember all the other guys were doing football, baseball, like soccer, hockey, basketball, and I would look around and think, I'm not good at any of that. So like I'm not even like built for like football. And I remember how much that bothered me. Like I'm not built like a linebacker. Like that's not my path in life. And I would always just do like cross country and like track and field. And I even remember feeling like some level of shame with that because I felt like it wasn't like a man's sport or something like that. And it was a wake up call for me because I began to realize like I didn't gravitate towards the normal archetypes of like what a man is in this world. Even when I was, gravitating to certain like movies like Lord of the Rings, like I was never like the Legolas or like any of those the characters with like in combat. I wanted to be Gandalf. I thought like Gandalf was just so cool.
Gandalf is the man.
But it's just funny how that it's important for people, for especially young men, to see that there's other types of archetypes of what a man is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the only way to get there is by, embracing all of us, every single part of us. And, Tai, I've watched you grow over the past, has it been 2 years now?
We were your first coaches, Tai.
Yeah. Like I remember like seeing you on an enrollment call like a
Yeah.
long time ago. And like that was like probably like 3 years ago,
Yeah.
maybe nearly 3 years ago. And then you started doing this work maybe like 2.5 or something like that, and then became a coach a couple of years ago. And I've watched you, I can feel you more and more grounded as a man. Like I feel that like I've seen you grow and seen you change over the past couple of years. It's been a delight to watch, and it's really cool. It's easy to see change in somebody else. It's harder to see it in yourself because you look, you're seeing yourself in the mirror. Now it's taking videos of yourself on social media every day. But like it's been a true blessing to watch you, and I feel you from when I first met you to who you are today. Like it is just such a radically different and this person. And this is what happens when we do the work to mature up for us, obviously the inner boy or the inner girl that needs that mental and emotional and spiritual maturity. And you can really feel that emanating from you now.
Yeah. And Tai, before you answer really quick, like I've seen you. I second Danny, like who you are right now and we've seen you. I mean, the solidness is completely there. You've grown in so many ways, but I know that this particular wound for you, being so empathic and being highly sensitive, that's like the big kahuna wound. Like I've seen you work through a lot of other stuff, but I know this is the one that can like bat you down sometimes.
For sure. Yeah. And it's, it all ties back to that resistance to self, the self-hatred, the self-esteem issues. And I'm definitely in that test of initiation right now, as Rachel likes to call it. And I'm ready to be on the other side of it, for sure. I feel like I'm I'm not meant to be in the career that I'm in at the end of the day. And I feel that in
We know
myself.
that. We
Yeah.
know that.
And that all ties back into it too because I'm so resistant to like trusting what's on the other side. am I going to survive? Am I going to make it? And it's just funny how everything's all intertwined. You do this work and you see, oh, okay. So my career isn't separate from my, family life versus how I show up with my parents, and it's all the same. And as much as they want to tell you like work-life balance and, leave home at home, it's like that's not how this works at all.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing that you get to experience right now is, even though, because this is me too, even though a lot of your time in your other line of work that you do isn't your soul's calling, as you mentioned, it's a beautiful place for you to get triggered, and really integrate this work. And this is something that I've really come to love about the bartending work that I do outside of this work, is it really allows me to integrate. There's no spiritual bypassing when it comes to, bartending and, artesian pizza. There's no spirituality in that. Oh, well, according to like a third dimensional separation consciousness person. But the way that I see it is everything that we do is a form of spirituality. It's a form of spiritual pursuit, spiritual growth. And so if I can't show up as a divine man at work and work through my triggers in real time, show up as the ways, be responsible, grow even in a place that isn't quote unquote, spiritual or new earth, that's a beautiful testing ground for me to really integrate what it is that I'm learning outside of there. Because as you said, there is no separation, right? That idea that we have work and then we have other things and then we have this and then we have that. It's like we do go to work and we sometimes, if that, we have that one thing, but we're still us there. And so how are we showing up there? What energies am I bringing in there? What energies are so beautifully being triggered in me in all of these moments, when, we intermingle with other people, and there's a highly sensitive and an empath. I'm sure I would love to hear this from both of you. How many times a week do you think about just driving out to the mountains, getting a log cabin, and never talking to anyone again? Because it happens to me a lot.
Yeah, that's a weekly thing for me for sure.
Yeah, that's today. That was a few hours ago. Yep,
Yeah.
that was me. The woods for me. Oh, that's my place. I love the woods.
Same.
I always love that environment. And I don't know about you guys, but I have really struggled with I don't know who I am being a big mental program for me, especially with, the depression, the self-esteem, all these things. Like I don't know who I am. Like I almost feel like I need someone to tell me.
Mm. I had an epiphany about that recently, because that is something that I've massively struggled with. And the more attachment that I have energetically inside myself, I don't know who I am, because I'm attached to other things. There's no space, there's no detachment for me to really know the energy that I am, to really feel that. When I'm so attached to everything else, the easy example I'll give is when I'm so attached to the energy that take me back to like being a child to my mother, all I know is my mother's energy. I don't know how to be independent on my own in my energy. So the only thing I know what I am is her energy. And then this was the trauma for me when she left my life at a young age. That then brought up, well, now I've lost who I am. There's all this attachment still there, and now I've lost who I am. So now I don't know who I am. And now I'm going to spend the next, 30 odd years trying to figure out what that is, when really it's, oh, I need to heal the programs that are trying to attach to other things to know what I am, instead of feeling it all naturally arise from within when we've healed all of the programs of attachment that are in there. At least that's how I've experienced it.
Yeah, I love that because I feel the same way where because I didn't get that feedback loop growing up in terms of, hey, you're an HSP, you're an empath, this is how it works. I started to like just think oh, I'm just like a melancholic, depressed person, that rain cloud is just like, oh, it's just a part of who I am, and you know, I just disassociate because that's what I am, and I just cling to that identity because there's a familiarity with being in that like depressed state almost for me. And as I do this work, it's like that ain't me. Like waking up to like all that is just it's just wounding. It's just like a little kid who doesn't have any guidance from the adults in his life.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say it's the identification to it. I mean, it's the way that we survived, right? If I stick and attach to this melancholy, depressed, like, yeah, I've got mental illness, I've got there's something wrong with me thing, it is a way for us to get by in this world, right? And so now you're getting to see all the attachments, like even like when you're like, oh, I run this program, like now you see you run the program, but there's still all this attachment to it. And so my question to you is, there's something that you brought up before of even like with your mom, right? Even when you can feel all the stuff that your mom is going through and things like that. What is it in that? Okay, okay. This is my actual question to you. When you guide your inner child to connect to what he is, what's going on with him? Is there resistance coming for him? Like what's happening with him?
Oof, yeah, that's a good one. The big one, and I I have to give a shout out to one of the other coaches, Alexia, because she was on the podcast a while ago, and she talked about her experiences working on a one-on-one with Rachel.
Hmm.
And I recognized that I did need some more help, so I reached out. And what I realized in that session with Rachel was that I feel such a lack of honoring for all that I give, um, and in all the ways that I help my family. And there's like almost no recognition. Like their programs just keep running. Like my mom, as of a few weeks ago, just asked me for some more money. It's just like it's constant. And there's this part of my inner child that's like, oh, I'm not even like recognized or honored from when I do something that feels right. And it's been a journey for me because I've had to raise him up to say, like, you don't need mom's approval. Like, you did that from your soul. Like, you do these things because that's who you are, that's who you choose to be. And you don't need someone to then, like, come and embrace you and lift you up. I always get this vision of, like, you know, someone, like a whole group of people picking me up and, like, celebrating me and, like, how good that would feel. And it's like, no, you don't need that. You need you to love you.
Because that's what the unhealed, wounded part wants, right? The ego wants that, like, oh, the praise and the lift me up. But really your soul's like, no, you're good. Does it, the lack of honoring, does it bring up anger? Because I know for me, that has been a lot of my journey when I've realized there's a lack of honoring. It brings up a lot of anger within me, but it feels more to you like there's like a deep sadness that's there.
Yeah, it feels like a heart-shattering feeling for me. And, as I dove into my astrology recently, and I personally think I have my moon in Leo, and there's a lot of
No way. And guys, he's
yeah.
a Sag sun. So there's a lot of fire going on.
It just with that Leo energy, it's just like that validation, that acknowledgement, that praise is like, oh, I so connect with that. And it's like I didn't get that a lot. And it brings up not so much anger for me. I have a really hard time with anger. It's almost like anger will come up for like in a split second for me and then just melt into this melancholic, very like misty, dark, like, oh, this place like just sucks. Like I don't even want to be here kind of energy.
You don't feel like someone to me that carries a lot of suppressed anger. You don't feel like that. I was just curious, just because I've had a lot of experiences with that, but I think that's more unique to my journey. But it's beautiful. I can just see that as you're sharing, like it coming up and just melting away.
Yeah. And then Ty, my second question to you is, have you guided, I'm sure you have, your inner child to really embrace what he is? And if you have, what does he say? Like, what comes out of him when you've guided him to that?
Yeah, I had a beautiful moment where I guided him into a recent example of where he was being manipulated by mom.
Mm,
And it was clear as day, like, you're being manipulated. What do you do now? Because you're caught in between a rock and a hard place, because it's either you give into her programs and you let her, fly out to see her grandmother or my grandmother who's in the hospital and really struggling, or you don't give her the money and she doesn't go.
mm,
So now what do you do? So in this session, it was guiding him into like, whatever choice you make, it has to come from your soul. Because if you don't give her the money and you do it out of like spite and like to like spite her, like, no, I don't, you're not, that that's low. That's like that old earth
mm-hmm,
energy. But if I give it to her just to like get it out of my, just brush it aside, like get it over with, that's not it either.
mm-hmm,
So it has to be the energy that I'm coming from. That was like the lesson in that moment. Like, it has to be the energy. And it's like my soul wanted my mom to spend time with her mother. And that was important for me. That's what I valued the most.
mm. Okay, so that is embracing the empath that you are. Right? So when you make decisions like that, when it comes from your soul, when it comes from a place of power, that is you healing this part of you that is in denial of the how empathic you really are. Okay. Sorry. I'm like, this is all very interesting to me, right? I'm just breaking it down with you. Have there been moments on your path with your inner child where he has felt like, oh my God, I'm such a highly sensitive being. I can feel in the depths that I feel in other people. And I'm so empathic. And holy shit, that is my power. Has he gotten there yet?
No.
Okay.
Still working on that. Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I imagine, that will organically just keep opening. It probably won't happen in a single moment. Because I mean, what a gift it is that you carry. And I've been coached by you many times, and what you're able to offer is like such a gift. But then obviously our programs and how we view ourselves, it's different when it's within ourselves. I totally get it.
Wait, but Danny, hold on. When Danny just said that to you, Ty, okay? What did you feel when he just said that to you? When he said you've been coached by him, and what just moved through you?
That's a good one. I think what just moved through me was like, oof. Like, I just feel like I don't really feel like I'm doing a good enough job.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
saw you immediately just energetically deny what he
Yeah.
just said. Just cancel. Nope, that's not coming in at all. Which is tied to like really embracing what you are. Like this man right now is like giving you so much love of what you have helped him move through, what you've become, and I could just feel you go, and that's it right there. That's it right there. Which ties to the self-hatred thing. It's ties to like
Yes.
what you are.
Because I can't receive.
Yeah.
And I know Rachel, we were in a quantum energetics class recently, which if you sign up for MSU, you get to join it.
Nice.
And she was giving this teaching about like divine humor. And it's like, if you can't laugh at yourself, it's like you're going to have trouble receiving from people
Mm.
celebrating you.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I
That's
just got
right.
chills.
Wow. Yeah. Good bringing that back around, because that's what I was just doing. I was celebrating you, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, beautiful. And yeah, wow.
You couldn't receive.
Yeah. Yeah. We take ourselves so seriously. We don't allow it in. And do you fall in the category more of like You've got no problem giving to everybody else, as you said, to your whole family. And then none of that's honored and none of it's reciprocated. You don't receive anything back.
Oh, this is so good. Yeah, like I don't even I it's like I'm so embittered by it because of like I feel like I've given a lot, but then not given the real recognition that it's almost like that part of me just is so shut down in terms of receiving anything back. And there's something really
Mm.
sad there that I have to probably go into at some point.
This is how our programs create a reality. So all you want is to be celebrated and all this stuff, but all your programs is I can't receive. So that's what you create in your reality. And then when you're given to it, you go, I can't receive that, when that's actually all you want. Yo.
That sounds like our programs. Yep, that's what
Yep.
they do. They do the opposite. We live in the upside down world. They do the opposite of what it is we really want.
Yeah, they were like they reinforce that old earth, that old reality.
Yeah.
You know, because there's a part of me that does want to receive it, but it's so buried and so suppressed underneath all the depression and all the, worthlessness, low self-esteem. And those are the layers that I have to start to really heal so I can step into being an empath in this world.
Yes. A very powerful empath, a very powerful, highly sensitive being. We can see that in you. We can feel that in you, but you got to go on the journey of really going into all that stuff.
Yeah, it's like Rachel always says, it doesn't, as she would say, it doesn't matter what I see and what I know.
Yeah.
Like, she always says, I know I'm a badass. I know I'm awesome. Like, you've got to go on that journey. And that's for us ourselves to discover, to find all those little parts of us that are hidden away in darkness and separation and bring them back into the light. Just like
Yeah.
Gandalf did.
And just to bring it back to Rachel, I asked her one time, like, if she saw anything with me and my mom, because that's one of the big relationships in my life that I struggle in. And she said, I do see something like another lifetime. Um, and it didn't go so well. And but you two weren't like familial, like you weren't in a family together. I see more of like you were neighbors and she was struggling, but you were well off and you helped her out. And I remember she said that to me, and I'm like, my programs immediately went to like, I couldn't even fully absorb it because I was like, my neighbor, like, I couldn't wrap my head around that. And I just wanted to be like, oh, so then, okay, this is not an important relationship because it's like my neighbor. Like, it was stupid what was coming up, But it forced me to realize like sometimes we really want that like wisdom, like what is this energy, like what from what other places does this come from, and it completely blindsides you when someone can like actually see what that is.
There's nothing more kind of humbling and scary than having somebody, any psychic, but especially somebody as psychic as Rachel, to tap into you and have some kind of reading, because they can see things that maybe you can't see or you've been hiding in your blind spot. I know that's the case with me. I had a reading from her one time and she was like, gave me this whole big synopsis about kind of like the way that I've shown up in my life. And it was about how these energies were created. She was like, I can see the way that you've shown up to women. She was like, sometimes deep love and honor, other times you've not been great. And I'm like, yep, shit, man. And then all this shame can come up about all the things that we don't want to look at, we don't want to admit about ourselves. And that's why you've got to really be in your power to do this work. You've got to really be ready to own every aspect of you, because it's going to come up. It needs to. It's not the real you. You did these things. You made some maybe mistakes or some bad choices in the past. Yeah. Now it's your responsibility to go in and heal them. The longer that we keep turning a blind eye and looking away from it, we're allowing them to live. We're allowing them to exist on the planet. It's not going to create the new earth.
Thank you for sharing this one, Tai. I love this episode. Such a good episode. And just for letting us move with you through this. Really
Yeah, I
good.
felt like I got healed in this episode. So thanks, thanks guys.
Let's go. I love it. So like Tai said, everybody, if you're ready to do this work, like this episode was really, we moved through some things in this episode. Master of Self University, our summer semester kicks off May 6th, y'all, of 2025, which is next week. Is it next week? I think it's next week. It's sometime. Dude. Maybe in 2 weeks.
Depends when this gets released.
Okay. May 6th, though. Please come join us. Like, for real. Our summer semester starts then, and we will start these classes, and you will gain so much, and you will transform. And so we just really recommend that you go visit masterselfuniversity.com. If there are any more free student enrollment meetings, come join and just learn more about what our school is all about. Tai, thank you so much. Danny, as always. And we will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Bye, everyone.